Hi there, it's Karen Sullivan here with lifehealthmore.net, and I'm really excited to be with you today. It's April and it's spring, and as you can see from my little set design here, we had snow and ice and nastiness, and it's really cold today. And I know lots of areas in the country are having that same thing. And wow, for spring, wow, it's really a toughie. But I am talking in the month of April. Now, if you guys follow me either here on Facebook or if you follow me on YouTube at Karen Philly Sullivan or just Karen Sullivan in my page there, I did in the month of March the 8 ingredients of holistic wellness, and we're really shooting for having you be a well-rounded individual with all your parts and essentials and everything sort of in balance so that you're moving through life in a really positive way. We would like to be not only disease-free, but we'd like to be free of aches and pains and strong and vivacious. And wouldn't it be lovely to be able to go through the day without having anybody come to you with talking about aches and pains? And prayer requests exist and there is illness. I get that. But let's try to be on the best side of wholeness. And so that's what the March series was about. And they are all archived on YouTube, but they're also here on Life Health More. Okay, so you can catch them, look under videos here. So I am going to talk about exercise because, it's like April exercise brings May muscles. It's not quite as eloquent as, April showers bring May flowers, but it is true. It is really true. So here's the plan for the month of April. We are talking about muscles, okay? We're going to go into each body part, separate your body parts and lay them out twice a week. We're here Tuesdays. Oh, I keep saying Tuesday, Monday and Thursday at 2 in the afternoon Central Time. It is always available for replay if you're not able to join me. And somebody asked me at the gym the other day, so why do you do it at 2 o'clock? I said, because it fits in my schedule. In the morning, early morning, I'm working. Late at night, truthfully, guys, I just don't have the energy. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I hit the ground running and do my thing all day. When I'm in my office, I'm working, in any sort of things, whether it's coaching one-on-one on the Zoom or on the telephone. It's just, I'm busy. And so by the time it hits after dinner, I've cleaned up the dishes and even maybe not cleaned up the dishes. I'm just pretty tired. So 2 o'clock works best for me, but that's the thing that's great. You can always watch reruns, right? So each body part we're going to talk about, and I'm going to touch on things like what the muscles do and where they are, and some of the names. I'm not going to get too technical. I started to look up and write down my script, and I thought, this can get just cumbersome. And for the common man, or woman, it's like, I don't need to know that too much information, TMI. So I'm going to make it a real basic kind of a thing. And it's sort of for the lay person, for you to understand. You're not worried about passing an exam for a fitness, for a fitness certification. This is just the basics, bare bones kind of a thing. So today we are talking about the chest, okay? And everybody likes working their chest. I know very few people who don't like working their chest unless they have some mitigating things with shoulders and everything. But the chest muscles are also known as the pecs or the pectoralis, and they're actually what they're for is the action of pushing things away. Moving something and like moving, let's say if you're moving furniture and you're pushing, it's all chest, it's all pec muscles, with in addition some of the secondary muscles being used in the arms, and the legs, of course. But for the most part, the pecs are for pushing, okay? There is a pectoralis major, the pectoralis minor, and then there is a serratus anterior. Anterior is in front. Well, you put 2 and 2 together and you get, it's the front of the body, so that's why it's anterior. Posterior is the back of the body. There you have it. So the pectoralis major, the origin of it is it's in the sternum. It's at the sternum, which is the breastbone. Okay. And then it goes out and it attaches somewhat to the clavicle, and then it goes out here to the humerus. Okay. On both sides. Okay. So it's attached here and there. Now, a lot of times people will say, well, when I've worked my chest and I don't see a lot of definition way in here. I'm going to address that shortly about working the entire chest. The thing to recognize, especially about women, is that the pecs are underneath the breast tissue. So working the chest will give support to the chest and the strength at the muscles and to the breast tissue. It will not, however, increase breast tissue. I mean, when you have muscles and they're, strong, they're usually smaller because unless you're really doing heavy bodybuilding, but it doesn't change your bust size. It doesn't change. It might change the measurement around you, but it doesn't change your cup size. That just doesn't happen. So when people say, I would like to have a whatever alteration with my chest, it's not going to do anything except support the breast tissue. I know that when I go and have mammograms, that the technicians are always really thrilled the fact that I have so much not breast tissue, but muscle mass, that it's very easy for them to be able to take the shots that they need for that. But that's it, as far as your breast size. Okay. Now, here's the thing about then the pectoralis minor is it attaches to it's, of course, the origin is in here at the ribs. Okay. It's inside underneath the pectoralis major, and it's attached like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th ribs. And then it goes back and it's attached to the shoulder blade. Okay. So the major comes out here, is attached here. The minor comes attached to the ribs and then goes back to the shoulder blade. And it really helps with being able to not only do the pushing, but it helps with the forward rotation of the arm. Okay. So it's important to have all of those muscles taken care of. And then the serratus. Let's talk about the serratus. You have the origin is like on the ribs. I think it's the 8th and 9th rib. And then it goes out to the front part of the scapula, okay, which is your shoulder blade, okay? And that indeed is the forward rotation. A lot of times when you're doing pullovers, you're working that serratus anterior and a couple other muscles, but that's sort of the major, and it hits in through the lats. You'll feel it, the stretching through here. You'll also feel it in your shoulder blades when you're lying flat and doing that pullover, which is straight arms up and over, okay? Well, it helps with reaching up. I have an exercise that I do I call it the long head of the tricep, which is an exercise that's similar to the pullover. However, it's restricted to starting at the chest, and then the hands go low. Oh, you're lying flat. I should say that first. You're lying flat on the ground or on a bench, and your hands go up and over your head and extend above your head, and you'll feel it in the shoulder blades, but usually I don't feel it anywhere else, and I really don't feel it in my triceps unless I start getting really heavy with it, which I don't do the heavy lifting anymore. But it's all about the movement and being able to function in the world, all those muscles. Now, one of the things that happens often with a client, especially when I'm first working with them, is they will feel, whether they're doing lots of exercises you can do. You can do a chest press, okay, which is pushing out. I'm talking about machines right now, okay? You're doing the chest press, or you can do the fly machine, and some of them have your arms are on pads here and you're squeezing together, right? Some of them have handles and your arms are extended and we pull in. That's what we have at the Recplex. We have actually both of them. So so those are a couple of the exercises. Then you can use dumbbells and do several things with same thing, lying flat on a bench, or you can do an incline bench or a decline bench. Lots of variables involved with doing the chest muscles, and they're all that fly. So it's out like this. I call it hug a tree, or it's the chest press. The bottom line is, as a trainer, I have to talk with people about understanding there's a brain muscle connection that has to happen. And so if you don't feel it in your chest, and I'm talking about all the way into the sternum, all the way into the breastbone, and you'll just wear out your shoulders and your arms. And the first mistake everybody makes is when they're holding on to something, they get this vice grip and they get these white knuckles because they're just holding, and I always say, hey, you can ease your grip. I don't want you to drop it on your face, but that weight is not going to run away. So you just hold it gently. Otherwise, this all gets tired in your forearms, your hand gets crampy, and it's just difficult. All you're going to be concentrating on is how this feels and not here. So here's what I tell my clients. And we sometimes have to try several ways, and I rephrase this, but basically here's the little thing to put in the back of your mind when you're doing chest. If you're in the gym now and you're doing everything and your arms are exhausted with chest and you never feel it in here, this is what you need to remember. Imagine that you are standing at a sink, at a basin, okay? And it's kind of high. You're going to wash your face. So you take your hands and you're going to reach down into the water with the palms up, okay? And notice how my shoulders drop down and my neck is elongated, and I'm going to bring those weights up, okay? So that's the motion that you want to do within the muscles without doing that, okay? So that as you press the chest, do the chest press out, you're going to push down and sort of rotate the shoulders and the elbows down to try and engage the muscles in the chest. I tell people, until you really get it and the brain is able to tell the muscle what to do and you really feel it in there, sometimes it's helpful to take your arms from your elbow to your shoulder and actually squeeze your body. So if you do that now, okay, don't pretend anything's in your hands. You're just like this. And you see me now, you're going to squeeze that and you'll feel the chest. And then if your hands are here even more, then you can feel it. Feel it? Okay. So practice that. And just take your time, reaching in and doing, and it doesn't matter whether you're doing push-ups or you're doing dumbbells or machines or any kind of other body weight exercise for the chest. TRX is the same way. You can do all kinds of things with it for the chest. Regardless of what it is, you want to make sure that you take the neck totally out of it. The neck is not involved. You want to try to really center everything here. It's secondary. When I say it's not involved, you're not trying to hit that muscle. You're trying to hit another muscle. Now, this is in some schools of thought, they think some fitness instructors and people in general think that, well, you don't want to just do, focus on one muscle or another. My argument is this. I know that my son does a lot of the exercises that are body weight, plyometric, explosive sorts of things, dynamic work and everything, which is great, which is really great. He enjoys it. I can't do that. My body doesn't like it. I mean, I can do some things, but I've had too many injuries that there are things that I just cannot do. But I totally believe that staying focused on individual muscle work is so important. And that's what this month is about, making sure that you recognize working those individual muscles is important, because you have to be as strong in the front. Your chest and your back have to be just as strong as each other. The biceps and the triceps have to be balanced. It's all about balance, because What is at the end of a muscle? At the end of a muscle are tendons and ligaments. Yeah, and those things attach to the joints. So when the muscle is stronger in one side and then in another, let's just take the shoulder, for example. Great example, because often we are very strong in through here because you're working your muscles and you're not getting the chest to work. So what's happening? What's working? Shoulder. So it's all the front shoulder. And then it pulls this humerus and you get impingements in here because this medial deltoid and the posterior one is not strong enough to keep balance in that shoulder. So you get the humerus, which is this bone in your arm, which is up in here and part of that rotator cuff. Okay. We'll talk about shoulders later. I'm not going to get into that. But what can happen is that imbalance will cause an impingement. And the next thing you know, you have pain. Same thing happens with front to back. People forget about their back. We're going to talk about the back on Thursday. So please don't miss that show. But when the back is not strong enough, what happens? This is all the, remember how I said the pecs go from here and they're all connected out to the humerus and it pulls and it'll pull those shoulders in. And then what do the muscles in the back do? The muscles in the back going, okay, your head's forward. This is not the way the postural alignment should be. So let's tighten up this so that we can help to fix her. The muscles are naturally going to do that. The body is naturally going to try to compensate, do these compensations and recruit these muscles. So what do? They tighten, especially these trap muscles. Holy criminy. And you know what? I'm guilty. Big guilt. Although I worked my back a lot in the years that I was bodybuilding, I also have, since I've gotten older and not really putting the attention on my back. So my chest is strong, as most everybody's is, and everything is rotating back. And I struggle with neck issues all the time. My chiropractor, he does a full adjustment, but I go because I can tell my neck is out. And he has to take care of me, and it has to do with all that. He's like, posturally, you're okay. Structurally, you're moving, the muscles or the bones are moving and adjusting, but it's my muscles that are pulling it out every time. So I want to remind you also that with these exercises, when I'm talking about strengthening things and trying to have balance, it's important for you to understand that sometimes if you have an issue in the joint, it's an imbalance, and you have to know what needs to be stretched and what needs to be strengthened. So it's not a guessing game. It is science. So if any of you who are my folks that come to my classes or that I'm doing personal training with, my clients that I teach, I work with people in Kentucky, California, over in New York, and even then we'll talk about what's happening with their bodies. And I can give you some things to look at and suggest and try to help you get better. So if anybody has a question about, I have this, I have that, I could give you some recommendations. And if I can't, and if I do believe you need to go see a physician or a chiropractor, I will certainly direct you that way. Now, stretching is a really delicate subject I want to make sure I touch on before I get any further into the series, and I'll probably mention it several times. Stretching is not a warm-up. No. When you warm up, you want to do the exercise. If you're doing chest press exercise, you want to do maybe a few easy push-ups, or do the chest press machine or the fly machine. Do one exercise that at a very light weight, just so you're getting that muscle warmed up. Warm up is always doing what you're going to do, but at a far lesser level or of intensity, and that will warm the muscles up. When you stretch, it sort of sends a mixed message to the muscle. You're asking it to relax. You're asking those muscle spindles to sort of let go and just relax. And then what do you turn around and do? But you load 145 pounds on a bar and you, boom, we're going to pump it out, right? No, you don't want to do that, because it takes a while then for it to contract. And the next thing you know, you have some kind of a pull or a tear or whatever. Okay. So be cautious. And remember, stretching is for only after you're exercising. Stretching in the morning when you're getting up, just getting up and getting your day started, that stretching is fine. Stretching at the end of the day, great, because you're going to go to bed, but you're not asking your body to leap tall buildings in a single bound. You can stretch and wake up. I have to stretch and wake up first thing in the morning. So these are tips that I have about chest exercises that I would love. If anybody has a question, please ask me. If you have a friend that you think could really use this series, share this with them or tag them in the comments so that they'll see it, they'll find it, they'll be able to watch it and catch it even in replay, right? I am interested in 2018 is going to be the year that we can all move toward holistic wellness so we can really love our lives. We deserve that, guys. I want you to be the absolute best version of yourself possible. And the way that we'll do that is working it together. So, Karen Sullivan from lifehealthmore.net, thank you so much for coming and joining me today. And if you're making comments here, I will come back and answer them after the show is done. I'm not able to see the comments as I'm doing the show, okay? So I'm sorry. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't see anything. Thanks. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Come back Thursday. Talk to you then. Yes, I want it.